Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Redmond and Beyond, where we talk about all things that are great about Redmond and the community that we live, work, and play in. And I'm really excited because today I have with me Lieutenant Julie Beard. She is head of detectives for the Redmond Police Department. And she's going to talk to us a little bit just about her perspective on Redmond. And Julie, thank you so much. Or Lieutenant, I apologize, Lieutenant Beard, thank you so much for joining us. And tell me, how long have you worked for the Redmond Police Department?
20 years. And so I've been there since I went to the police academy September 2003.
Wow, that is very exciting. And what led you to get into law enforcement?
No big surprise, it's a family business. So my dad was a police officer for 30 years with the King County Sheriff's Office. And I used to sit in his patrol car when I was a kid, and I wanted adventure. I wanted to be able to drive fast, and I wanted to use my psychology degree that I got from UW.
That sounds like some pretty good reasons. Absolutely. So when I think about, a detective, I think about, Columbo, and I think about, TV shows of my youth and even, crime novels that I read. But I know there's a lot more to it. And I actually, spent a little time on the Redmond Police Department website, which has lots of fantastic information, by the way, for people who don't know that. It's a great resource. But can you tell me a little bit more about what you do as head of detectives on a day-to-day basis?
A lot of paperwork. So our unit is responsible for all major investigations. So any felony investigations, the patrol team responds to 911 calls. If it's a big case, it comes upstairs to us, or we actually go out to the scene. So that means a lot of search warrants, a lot of review, a lot of police reports. So a lot of our time is in the office. Last week was an interesting week. We had 3 call outs. And so some weeks we're out in the field for days at a time, depending on what's going on in the community. And some weeks, like this week, now we're going to be in the station all week catching up on all the paper and search warrants from the crimes that happened last week. So
Gotcha. So it's not all what we think it is. It sounds like there's a lot more interesting stuff happening out in the field and then kind of being wrapped up in the office.
Yeah, so last Wednesday we had 2 major crimes occur, one in the morning and then one in the afternoon. And between those 2 call outs, we were probably in the field for 5-6 hours. And then we're going to be, now we've had several meetings and we're going to be in the station and doing one of those cases is going to involve and already has involved multiple search warrants, calling the crime lab out and working with the crime lab to process the vehicle for DNA and fingerprint evidence. So all the fun work usually results in longer work on the back end, but what that does is helps us. Part of our team's job is to keep things bundled up so they make sense. So when we send them to the prosecutor, we have good cases.
Oh, and I know I, for one, would forget that that's probably a very important part of your job, is making sure that you do it, as they say, by the book, right? So that you can go to the next step, which is prosecute criminals if that's what needs to happen.
Yep.
Yeah. So what's the best part of your day? Like, what do you love the most about your job?
Oh, people. It's always the people, whether it's I get to interact with people. So one of our call outs last week was in the Education Hill neighborhood, which was one of my patrol districts when I was a patrol officer for years. And so I love the community out here. Neighbors take care of neighbors in Redmond, which is one of my favorite things. So we're out in the field for a couple hours and I'm working alongside people who are high caliber, very intelligent, amazing officers. And then people are coming out of their homes to interact with us and they truly care about their neighborhood, which is something I think is pretty special about the East Side, but especially Redmond. So for me, it's the people I work with and the people I serve.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's one of the big reasons I got into real estate was being able to be with people and help people and use some of my, former knowledge and skills from way back when I was on Wall Street in New York. But that's awesome. Okay, so what's the worst part of your day?
Oh, that's probably the paper I talked about earlier.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a lot of paperwork. It's a lot of meetings. because of my role, I lead our unit. So the good news is I get to keep my people out of meetings. The bad news is it's because I'm going to those meetings myself. So a lot of meetings, and I work for the government, so we have a lot of meetings and a lot of paper.
Yeah. Um, so you started to touch on this, which is what you love about Redmond, in terms of the people. Tell me some other things that you love about Redmond, because I do too. And the English Hill neighborhood is right up in my neck of the woods. So
Yeah.
so I know that area well. But just curious, what are the things that you have found over the years to be really special about Redmond in this community?
Oh, beyond the people, it's just a beautiful city. We've got a really cool park system. I'm lucky I get to work with the parks director, and she is phenomenal, and her team is. But there's green space everywhere. I'm actually in my car, which is where most police officers are all day, and I'm parked next to one of our gorgeous green spaces. I'm going to meet one of my employees right after this. And so my station right now, I'm 5 minutes away from just an amazing green space where we can get outside. We can have an outdoor meeting. When I worked night shift and swing shift patrol for years in my 20s and 30s, I could park my car, get out, and walk around. And Western Washington as a whole is very stunning, but Redmond especially, we've got waterfront parks, we've got wooded trails. If you want to get outdoors, you're never very far from any beautiful green space in the city.
Yeah, I bet that one of the things I love about Redmond is like Marymore Park, and
Mhm.
a lot of the events and things that um, that Redmond does. I love Redmond Town Center because it's outside. There's always something going on, but lots of great shopping. So I feel like there's something for everyone.
Yeah, my kids
Absolutely.
took I don't live too far from Redmond, but I bring my kids and my family back here a lot. And so Redmond Town Center is one of our favorite places because my kids could do swim lessons right in the mall.
Yes.
And then we could take turns going to our favorite restaurant for lunch right afterwards. And then my children's absolute favorite bookstore is in Redmond Town Center. It's Brick and Mortar Books.
Yep.
Um, we spend too much money there, but I'm happy to spend that money there. So yeah, we've got some special places in this town that I really like. And our swim lesson afternoons at Redmond Town Center were some of my kids' favorite times growing up.
That's great. I love walking by the window there and you can see the kids, and that's just a lot of fun.
Yep.
Absolutely. All right. So you said your favorite lunch place. So what is your favorite lunch place?
Oh, I have to think about this because there's a lot. Because there's everything from my taco time. I'm an old school. I love my taco time, but I have to go Banditos. It
Mm,
is. If you haven't been there, it is a taco truck. They moved across town and now they're kind of parked in a back parking lot. It is worth the find because my absolute favorite guilty pleasure lunch is to get a chorizo taco plate with rice and beans. And that's my lunch for 2 days at work, and it is just comfort food. The people that run it are super nice. There's always a line because they are so popular, but they're so quick. And the Banditos is my guilty pleasure.
oh, I love that. That is a great suggestion. Absolutely. Yeah, cool. All right, great. What else haven't I asked you that you want to tell the community of Redmond about the police department, about um, our community? I'm sure that you have seen a lot with all of the construction and the
Mhm.
expansion of Redmond, which I know, is always a topic of conversation. And I'm sure that it's something you guys really are working hard to keep up with.
Yeah, so one of my siblings works for a nearby city in the fire department, and so we're getting ready for light rail, and it's been kind of fun because I've been able to train with his department and with him on our emergency response when light rail's up. I'm excited because if I was in my 20s, when I was in my 20s, I lived in the city. The suburbs weren't really appealing because of there's no good transportation. And so if I was in my 20s now, Redmond would be a lot more attractive than it was before because light rail is going to bring you right into town and then bring you right into the city for events, or commuting depending where you work. So I'm kind of excited for light rail, and I'm kind of very excited for the work that we're doing for police and fire to prep for it safety wise and the partnerships we're forming regionally. I know we hear a lot of safety concerns about what light rail is going to mean for our community. What I think it's going to mean for our community is a younger population and then easy getting into downtown Seattle once everything's up and running.
Yeah, that is great. Thank you so much for that, because I think we forget about that. You know, most of us, myself sometimes included, don't always like change, but you know, remembering that change brings a lot of really good things, and
Yeah.
access to all the things that make, you know, the Pacific Northwest so awesome are definitely, you know, good things to be focused on. So, well, Julie, Lieutenant Beard, thank you so much for joining us and talking to us a little bit about your job with the Redmond Police Department, and for doing all that you do to keep us safe and to, you know, keep us connected, because I know that's a big part of what you do as well. So thank you so much. And thank you everybody for tuning in and learning a little bit about Redmond this morning. And we will see you again on another episode. Thanks so much.
Thank you.